Claws Out podcast coming live from the Mic'dUp studios in Parramatta. We've got an unchanged lineup tonight, joined by Rob, Steve and Gary. We're going to be deep diving into the West Tigers' 26-12 win over the Manly Seagulls at Allianz Stadium today. But before that, Rob, why are we calling it the Claws Out podcast?
Well, firstly, I was sick of you calling it a collaboration podcast. But look, this is what it is. It's a collaboration of West Tigers podcast, West Tigers Life. It's the best possible product we can get. Great content like all our channels have, but we've got top quality audio, top quality video. I thought the name's a cracker, and we've got a wonderful logo now, and thankfully the boys lived up to it today with a magnificent performance. So that's the reason, nothing more, nothing less. We're still tied to West Tigers Life and West Tigers Podcast, but we just needed our own name.
Now, no coaches report tonight. Obviously, we're gutted about that. Our good friend Adele, he's not on, but Rob will be reading a statement from Adele. I'm sure he's listening somewhere out there at some point in the show. Now, obviously, this being a new podcast, Claws Out, we are on Instagram and we're also on X. It is called Claws Out Podcast. That is all one word. So if you give us a like, subscribe, follow on that. And the Claws Out podcast on YouTube is a channel that we're starting up. There's going to be some shorts released over the next couple of weeks. The boys have just had a little debate about Lockie Galvin and Jerome Luai and a couple other subjects, the 05 preliminary final we talked about. So please subscribe to that Claws Out podcast YouTube channel, because once we get to 1,000 subscribers, we can share this main podcast on both West Tigers Life and the Claws Out channel. And also we are on TikTok and we are on Facebook. Last shout out before we dig into the game. This show wouldn't be possible without a sponsor, and we've got Matchday Manny. So attention, male footy fans, if you want to win some brownie points, and female fans, if you want fun, fashionable attention to your Matchday Manny makes press-on nails in footy team colours. I asked Gary to wear them tonight, but he hasn't.
I did hear if we get to 1,000 subs on YouTube that Rob's going to wear one for
Mate, they go perfectly with that red beard of yours. I reckon it'll look magic.
We get to 1,000 subs, I'll wear some.
So look as sharp as an Appy Coruscant dummy and show your support for the team in style. Now, they've just launched, so there's more team colours to come. Order now at matchdaymanny.com.au. Follow them on Instagram. And, boys, it's time for one word. What was your one word for the 26-12 win today, Rob?
Wooden spoon. It's not ours anymore. It's official. There's
Thank
no
God.
1% chance of that. So absolute total relief. Happy for, again, the fans, the team, the players, the club, the whole works.
Steve?
Fast. Pretty simple one. I thought it was the fastest we've played. Our line speed was fantastic. We were up in their faces all game, probably better in the first half than the second. And also our attack, it was clinical and it was fast.
Yeah, I'm going to go with backup. We've spoken a lot over the past couple of weeks about our inability to back up a strong performance with another positive performance. And I think we really put that to bed today. Today was a fantastic performance. And I actually believe the last two performances that we've put in are probably arguably our best performances of the year. And they've come in back-to-back weeks. So that's really impressive for me.
I've just gone with growing, because I think the club is growing, Rob. Not just Benji Marshall and Richo in the front office, but the playing group. And that was a professional performance today off a bye. We had a horrendous record off the bye. I think 0-9 our last 9 games. So I've just gone with growing, but it keeps the I'm not going to say finals hopes alive, Rob, but it keeps the 9th place dream alive.
I'm not going to say it's over yet. I keep saying just let a couple of things happen week by week. We've only got 2 results to mainly worry about next week.
Roosters result.
Roosters result really hurt us. So Canterbury did us no favours there. But look, we just got to beat the Cowboys and hope Manly can beat the Dolphins. And yeah, I'm not sure who the Roosters are playing, but look, it's just good to be winning. We are building slowly. I've got to be honest, I wasn't expecting a win of this magnitude. But back to what you said about the bye, I read somewhere on Twitter, don't quote me 100%, but I think our average score coming off our 9
36-14, something like that.
38-14, yeah, which is incredible. So we totally put that to bed today.
Steve, the Dolphins are in 9th, 10 wins, 11 losses. Tigers and Manly equal 10th in 9 wins and 12 losses. Cowboys are up to 8.5 now. Where do we finish the season?
Well, we've got the possibility really of finishing 9th or 10th, I reckon. I think the Roosters have got a good draw home and they're playing some good footy. It's going to be hard to get past the Roosters, especially with our for and against. But there's no reason we can't have 2 more wins. We play like we did 2 weeks ago against the Bulldogs and play like we did today. Next week against the Cowboys, we win that game. Against the Titans, we win that game. It's just the Canberra game, whether we can turn up and beat the Canberra down there. But that we could finish 9th or 10th, right? If we have a bit of luck, we could finish 8th. But if we finish 8th, 9th or 10th, that's a really good season.
Apparently, Gary, don't quote me on it, but it's the first time the West Tigers have got 24 points in the 2020s. So that's, 5 years? I know there's 3 buys now, so that's 6 points, but 9 wins, potentially 10, 11, 12 wins. Is that a successful year?
Oh, most definitely. And especially when we were looking a couple of months ago that there was a lot of people, I think you may have been one of them, who didn't think...
never negative, Gary, you know that.
Who didn't think would win another game. And we're in a position now, and yeah, Rob was definitely one of them as well. We're in a position now where not only can we win 2 more games this season, we should win 2 more games this season. We should beat the Cowboys. They did have a pretty good performance against the Knights today. I didn't see the end of the game, but they had a pretty good performance against the Knights. And those next 2 games, not the Canberra one, are games that we should actually win at this point. So we should go through the last month and a half of football losing 1 game, and that's a real positive building into next season.
I think it's 2018, Rob, since we've won 3 games in a row. It's all set up next weekend. I haven't believed it in the past, but Leichhardt Oval, the Cowboys, 4:00 Sunday, surely we do it.
I hope we can. The Cowboys played well today. I think they won 38-4 against the Knights in the last game of the round. So, look, it can be doable. But, look, the Cowboys have points in them. They also generally leak points. So I think we'll want it more than them, and I think we can come up with a win.
We'll get into the specifics of the game in a minute, Steve, but 4 of the last 6, we went through that horror mid-season slump again, which we so often do at West Tigers, which is frustrating because we don't really have any origin players. But to win 4 of the last 6 and potentially 6 or 7 of the last 9, that's real momentum going into 2026.
Oh, absolutely it is, and it builds belief within the group. But I think the group still do believe in themselves, and I don't think that belief has dropped at all. You know, we had a good start to the season, and then we had that unfortunate incident with Lock and Galvin, or that situation with Lock and Galvin, and it really knocked us around. It knocked the stuffings out of us, really. And so it's taken a long time to recover from that, but they have recovered. They've stuck together, and they're building nice combinations, and they're building belief, and they're building strength of character out there. And, you know, it's looking good. We're not that far. We're not that far from a really good football side.
That strength of character one, I think, can't be underestimated with this team. I think the most disappointing thing as Tigers fans over the last couple of years is we'd get to that midpoint of the season, and then it would look like a lot of our players gave up. And there's no give up in this side, and lost 6 or something in a row mid-season. Last year, the year before, that would have been it. The club might have won 1, maybe 2 more games for the rest of the season, but they would have given up. And we don't have a side that gives up now. So I really do believe that as they play together longer and as we bring in a couple more players, that fight's, once we turn into a good football team as well, is going to be so crucial and set the club up moving forward.
I know I joke about it, Rob, but there were some really dark times in the middle of the year, and I was scared that we were going to get the wooden spoon. So to show, 4 of the last 6 and Benji was under pressure, that's got to show something.
I thought we were in big trouble. I didn't think we were going to win another game a few weeks ago, but there have been 2 significant changes to the team. One, Adam Dewey at number 7, Taylor May at number 4, number 3, whatever he's wearing at left centre there. They are 2 players that are playing elite football in both those positions. We now have a strike left centre, and we have not only Adam, but even today, if you saw Adam, you saw Jerome Luai, and you saw Latu Fainu when they came on the field, they had a run-first mentality before the passing. So when we've got our halves wanting to run the ball and go forward, that's off the back of your forwards doing well for a change, because we've been owned in the forwards lately. There's just a lot of positive to see, but definitely Adam and Taylor have been game changers for our season.
We're going to get into individual performances a lot later, but Steve, I'm going to call this the Matchday Manny Man of the Match. Who was your player of the match today?
Gee, it's a really hard one to pick a man of the match because it was such a team performance. But I do have to say, Terrell May up the front again with 200 metres. I think he ran, 40-odd tackles, high
70 minutes, 24 runs.
Yeah. He just and they weren't like his 200 metres. They were good metres, right? Like he was really pushing through the ad line and causing trouble. And he was also a number of times today he was playing pivot and getting the ball out. He was really instrumental today. Really good.
Come on, Gary. You know who the man of the match was. Your favourite player.
Look,
Where is he? He's not here today.
Oh, no, I left him at home. Though I have him as my second best today. I agree with Steve. Terrell May for me was outstanding today. And how does a prop run for 200 metres when he also passes 10 times in a game, 4 offloads as well? The guy is just immense and adds so much to our team. There are times where when a player's broken down, I'd like him just to tuck it under his shoulder and go forward instead of looking to create. But when he plays that pivot role, I think he's doing a wonderful job, and he just nudges out Adam Dewey for me for my best player today.
I had a few written down, Rob. I've got splinters because I'm sitting on the fence. I had his brother, Taylor May. I had Sione Fainu, and I had Adam Dewey as well.
If my wife wouldn't kick me out of the house for singing it, I would actually sing my answer because the man of the match, the dude looked like Dewey. Okay, it was Adam Dewey. He's the difference. I think both May brothers deserve a shout out. Look, Sione was good, but there were a couple of times in the first half when we had the extra man and he held onto the ball.
He bombed a try.
Yeah, he bombed a couple of chances there, but he played really well. For someone that's been playing as a middle to be playing on the right edge, he's doing a better job than anyone that's played there this year. But yeah, look, I'm biased to Adam, but Adam's the difference, and Adam ran that ball so well today. And some of the passes he put on, one of those passes to Toa before he gave it out to Skelton. I mean, I'm sure you'll go through the tries at some stage, but that was magnificent.
I'll tell you, we've got to mention, and we haven't, is Samuel Fainu. He was outstanding on the left edge. He's just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And if I've mentioned before that I've been worried about our edge attack and the sort of having any sort of impact out there. Well, he's just getting incredible out there. He's becoming a real force.
That left-hand side is incredibly dangerous now when you've got Sam Fainu running out there, you've got Taylor May out there, and Luai, who I thought probably had his best game at the club today, because those guys are playing so well and they're giving him options.
And he's forming great combinations. Like Luai is forming great combinations with both Fainu and May. Right? And yeah, that's good for the future.
And that ball Luai threw for that Taylor May try the short ball,
which should have been disallowed,
which probably should have been disallowed. But that ball he threw was a fantastic ball, and that's what I've been waiting to see from him. I've been waiting to see him actually put a guy through a hole like that, and I was super impressed with that. Sam Fainu, though, you did mention him, outstanding. He's really a dangerous runner of the ball now, and we've spoken about a little bit of lack of impact on the edge. He was absolutely damaging today, and it was great to see him in that form.
Now, Rob, I won't go through the tries try by try because I'm not Adele, mate. I'm nowhere near Adele's football knowledge and how he can break down plays.
We love Adele.
Big shout out to Adele. But, Steve, I thought there was a turning point today, and it came from an ex-Tiger, Tommy Talau, and I thought only an ex-Tiger could do that. It wasn't the Jaden Sewer play, but it was when he went from dummy half and he did a double movement and we went down the other end and scored. Could have been 12-all and turned into 18-6.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a pretty dumb play from Talau. Good that the referee saw it because he missed a fair bit today, I thought. But the good thing about us today, right? Even if it did go 18-6, I am starting to believe this team can come back from any situation that's thrown at them. Like it's not that long ago that if we get scored against in the first minute, that we drop our bundle and 6-0 becomes 12-0 becomes.
Eddie certainly dropped his bundle in a message he sent.
Oh, that wasn't that scathing. That was
on a private chat. You're not going to.
Yeah, but no, it was on a private. But now it's going to be public.
Yeah, of course. Well, just while we're on the topic of ex-Tigers, and I don't want to turn this into a hammer-a-thon, but Luke Brooks hasn't progressed his game in a couple of years. Gary, has he?
Mate, I don't think he's progressed his game ultimately in 10 years. So I do feel sorry for the guy because it's going to be really interesting next year with Daly Cherry Evans not being at Manly, how he's going to cope with that.
Who's going to run that side? I suppose Fogarty.
You're too harsh. You're too harsh. Fogarty will be there. He just needs to play second fiddle, Luke Brooks. If he's got someone inside him that's playing. Look, Manly have lost that spirit. They're not the team I don't know how they beat the Storm recently, to be fair.
They look broken. They look broken.
They look broken. And they were so good against Canberra the last game they played. They really had some serious line speed. They were running hard and they had the lead against Canberra.
6 tries in the last month Manly have scored.
All right. Who cares about Manly? But it was a terrible start to the game because, I've got all these theories and coming off a bye 0-9 and they marched down the field. I think we missed 5 tackles in the first set. The Kohler, who scored the try, just brushed off Appy and a couple of others. I was incredibly concerned that first 2 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And Skelton came in off his wing and didn't make it. You missed the tackle, and then which led to the run downfield. Yeah, so in days gone by, that would have been good night West Tigers, right? And it wasn't. We rallied, we came back, we evened up, and we went ahead. So Manly didn't throw a lot at us today. We beat them in the middle pretty easily, but you can only play who's against you, right? And we marched forward today.
You take out the first 2 minutes and the last 2 minutes, and it's 26-0. Like, that's what we've been praying for West Tigers for years, a good defensive professional performance.
I think that's truly the first 80-minute performance of really strong football throughout. We were very good against the Bulldogs 2 weeks ago, and a very committed effort, but it was a wet weather football. It was a different style of football. Today we had some really classy moments. We had a forward pack that kept going through the middle, and for me, that's our best 80-minute performance of the season, despite a really strong fighting performance 2 weeks ago.
Get into the specifics of the attack and defence in a minute, but on the stats, we killed them, Rob. It was 7-1 line breaks. I think average set distance, we were in the mid-40s and they were in the mid-30s, so we really won the middle of the field.
We needed to win the middle of the field too, because if you're going backwards, your backs aren't going to do anything, and Manly's got a hot back line. So, I think I was a little bit scathing of our forward pack last week, Steve, when we were talking about confidence levels. I think I went 4 out of 10, you went 3 out of 10 or thereabouts, because you don't know which West Tigers forwards are going to show up. But if our pack can hold its own against the other team, our backs can do a job.
So bottom 4 forward pack?
Currently now, 100%.
We still can't get carried away with it, right? I think we've gone from a bottom run team to a middle of the ladder team. We've got a forward pack that when they play with that sort of intensity, they can match it, I think, with like teams. I still don't think we have the forward pack to match it with the elite of the competition.
Gary, would you say Fanua Bole is one of our better forwards in our pack, in our system?
Fanua Bole needs to be coming off the bench. We definitely need at least one prop forward, someone with a fairly high impact, because we don't have that outside Hunt playing 20 minutes or so. So our forward pack isn't complete, but there are some very good pieces in that forward pack, and that's what we've got to build on.
Why I asked you that is someone who's on his last legs, Matt Lodge, ran over him for a try in the last minute today.
Really
so
poor
that's
defense.
where I say there's still some poor first contact from some of our forwards. We need to be stocked up in the middle.
Rob, it was my mother that sent me this text, so I won't claim it. But she said after the game, she said, Manly maybe arguably have more talent than us across the squad, but our side look like they look out for each other and they're really connected. And I think that's something that's growing, and I'm getting more faith in every week. The boys obviously, on socials talk a big game and stuff, but it's transferring to the field now.
Look, even when we were losing, the boys always put in, like Gary said, we haven't given up all year. Even in those losses that we hate to accept, they've always put in. Even when we've been touched up a little bit, they don't give up. So I've never had an issue with effort, but unfortunately, like a lot of our fans, we think effort is just a basic prerequisite. Like that's what you pay to do, and that's what you pay to do every week. But that said, especially the point Gary made about our seasons the last 3 years falling off a cliff, where this year, like what do we had now 3 or 4 wins, 4 wins out of 6 or something. So it's a better finish than like we were having 6 wins in a season. Now we're finishing to the point where we might have 6 wins at the back half of the year, which is fantastic.
They're playing for the coach, Steve. It sounds easy to do, but West Tigers teams in the past haven't done it.
Yeah, they are. They're absolutely playing for Benji, and they're playing for each other. More importantly, and just a great example of that today. I mentioned Jarrell Skelton, who missed that tackle early. He could have dropped his head at that moment. He knows that he's got a miss in him. He knows that he can miss a tackle, and he knows he made a mistake. But he didn't. He made 2 tackles that I can remember that were absolute try savers, or if they weren't try savers, they were close to it, because if he missed the tackle, they were gone downfield 30, 40 metres. And he got 2, and they were 2 ankle tackles, and they were great effort plays. And that's he didn't give up. He made a mistake, but he came back and nailed it.
Over the last month, it's really interesting to see, and you really see it better at the ground. The way that the boys are supporting each other when there is a mistake made. And the one where it was really obvious today was when Adam Dewey kicked out on the full. They actually stand around and clap. And I think Andrew Voss mentioned it in the commentary.
It was after a knock-on late in the game.
Yeah.
Our knock-on.
He said it was because they thought they were going to get the feed. It's not that. They're supporting their teammate when they make a mistake. And it's a very open and clear thing to see when you're at the ground. They all get around that player and they applaud that player. So I think that attitude is really holding the boys together. And then they have the fight to kind of defend that mistake. And I think that's what's crucial for us this year and has improved greatly on what we saw in previous seasons.
I know Adele's mentioned that sort of thing in the past, like Origin players like Jack Bird who've been playing 20 minutes. I saw Tristan Hope at a game at Combank where he wasn't even playing, just up, applauding, genuinely looking excited. That's how you build a club.
No, that's right. The camaraderie's been great all year, obviously with the exception of what happened in the middle of the year with Galvin and De Silva to a lesser degree. But that's what I think derailed our season, the fact that there were a couple of guys suddenly didn't want to be a part of what we had. That's what kind of took the club a while to get over. But where it's at now, like we're just going to get stronger and stronger for it.
And it's a shame, Rob, because that football we're playing today is probably the best football I've seen from this club in 5 years at least. And if it wasn't for that poor period in the middle of the year where our season kind of got flushed down the drain, it'd be really exciting going to the end of the year if we still had 2 more wins than what we're sitting on right now.
Just even one more win now would give us a seriousness.
It's so close.
That Galvin
dropping the ball over the line against
South.
South.
Huge. That's huge.
I'm glad we don't have one more win. It's too stressful. Imagine playing for the 8 against the Titans.
I
I'd
want
have to
the
live-
stress, mate. I don't want to have our
I'd have to
season
leave the
over in
country.
May
I'd
every
be so
year.
stressed.
This is great. Needing results to go
Is
our
that
way.
why you want the wooden spoon, Eddie? Is because
Stay
it's
out. No more wooden spoon mentions. The attack, Steve. Let's focus on the halves to start with because, like, we scored 4 tries. You could argue with the amount of possession we had, we probably could have scored more points today. But the performance of the halves and the style of football we played, what did you make of it?
Yeah, well, I think the halves had room to move because we won the battle in the middle. We were getting fast play the balls, like we were landing on our stomach, we were getting up, we were making yardage down the centre of the field. We were also making yardage like 2 passes wide. That was a real tactic I saw today. They
and has been for
Yeah.
a few games now.
But that's how they were trying to shift Manly around a little bit, I could see. And because of that, then our halves. I still think when we get in our red zone attack, we're struggling. Jerome Luai in particular is still going left and right, and sort of trying to find something but not knowing what he's looking for really. So that's still a concern. But the big thing I noticed today were our combinations. Our combinations are really starting to cement in.
Look, I think we're going to have to accept one thing with this team, and I think at times our attack is going to look erratic. I think at times it's going to look a little bit frantic, and it is going to be we'll have moments where guys run out of space because they're trying stuff. And I really do. You think about Benji Marshall as a player, and that's how he was as a player as well. And I think the team is really starting to develop that personality. You talk about a team having a personality of the coach, and that erratic sort of attack that sometimes is brilliant, but sometimes when it breaks down looks panicked. I think that's something we're going to have as a club, and I think that's part Luai, it's part Benji Marshall. But if you're scoring 26 points in a game, then for the most part it's working, and I can see that erratic style attack worrying some teams, especially when we get into next season. If we can get a middle forward who creates some impact, and you have guys playing that style of football off the back of it, that can be really dangerous and really damage some teams.
Gary, I'm not going to go as far as you and say it's our best performance of the year, but what I did find today, which really pleased me a lot, is when Adam, Latu and Jerome were on the field, it looked organised. It's almost looked like there's been 3 people trying to fit into 2 spots. They actually looked very cohesive today. They looked like they knew what they were doing. They weren't getting in each other's way. Look, some of the things I didn't like were, the drop bombs and some of the defence, like Eddie mentioned early on in the game or what have you. But just seeing how they were combining with each other, that actually made me think this can work.
And we spoke about Adam in that halfback role last week, and you guys were giving me a little bit of a hard time for saying he's not a half. And I told you what I want to see from him is not so much the glory plays, it's about creating space for other people. And he did that really well at times today where he really bit into the line and then created space for Luai out on the edge. That's what I want to see from him in that halfback role, and we saw it today. And he was able to do that because he used his running game effectively. Whereas there's been times in the past where he'll run and he'll have space outside him, he hasn't used it. But I thought he made the right decisions around when to run and when to feed the ball out to the outside backs today.
So I'm going to go one step further with that from what we were talking about last week. I'm now pretty convinced, just from watching today, that Adam Dewey is the guy to start at 7 next year. And I think Latu goes to 14. I think he what he brings when he comes on is really good. But I'm going to go one step further and say I'm happy to start the year with 12 at 13 too. Rather than, I know you've said, Rob, you want to look for
a ball runner, a ball playing.
I actually think what 12's bringing to that role in his first stint early in the game is really good. He does need to probably get a more defined role when he comes on his second stint. But
why can't he do that as a starting prop? I hear what you're saying if there's no alternative, but I think we need to search for that alternative. And
just on Adam Dewey, I just want to go back to that for a second. I think we really saw Benji Marshall's intention around that role when Stafford Toll went down injured today, because Adam spent a whole heap of time at centre this year. He started the year at centre, played the majority of the season at centre. He didn't put Latu on at halfback when Toll went down and moved Dewey to the centres. He put Latu on at centre.
Made a great tackle on Kohler at one point.
So Latu played in the centres. Adam Dewey stayed at 7. That tells you a lot around what Benji Marshall's thinking, at least in the short term, he's going to do with that halfback role.
He played Latu at centre in the game against the Roosters as well when I can't remember who it was having trouble tackling out there. And he actually made sure that he moved him out wider and he put him there.
He is so strong defensively for a smaller body. He handles that workload in the middle coming on and playing that 13 role really well. And for a smaller guy, he hits really well.
They actually moved him in. They moved him one in for defence today. So he was playing centre in attack, but he was playing one in for defence, and Adam Dewey was going out to centre for defence.
We'll talk about Benji's press conference later, Rob, but he singled out Jerome. He said it was one of his best performances for us. I thought at times we had, I think, nearly 50 tackles in their red zone. At times he was stepping off his left and stepping off his left, but there was times there where that was creating things, and if we had a little bit of extra pace, we would have actually scored a couple more tries today.
I don't know if it was his best game. You might be right, Gary. I think he's played a little bit better, but it was definitely like his most all-round game. I think he contributed in so many different areas today. We saw him ball play, we saw him run, we saw him kick. He just had that all-round, bit more control on his game than he's had in the past.
That edge is, I know I mentioned it earlier.
That left edge?
That left edge is so impressive right now because he can now go to the line and he's got 2 options. If the defence bites on Sam, he just goes out to back to Taylor, who, if you give Taylor an early ball, is amazing as well.
And if they start cheating that way, then he's free to run.
Yep. He just creates so many options for him. And I'm really looking forward to this next 3 weeks of football because I think we may see Jerome's game go to another level. What
are they waiting for with Taylor May? Like, honestly, this guy's a beast. Like, I think he ran for 177 metres today. He got a try up against a Manly side with plenty of pace out wide, defended well. I just think this guy's an elite centre.
He's an elite centre. I don't know what we're waiting for. Maybe I'm sure we're in the middle of negotiating. And look, he doesn't want to go anywhere. Did you see how happy Terrell was for his brother scoring a try today?
Yep.
Like that actually warmed my heart. Seeing like that was just the highlight of his day. You could see it. So look, he's there to stay. I'm sure Richo's not going to lose him. And Taylor looks happy. That's the important thing. And if he's getting his life sorted out off the field, which I'm sure he is, he seems to be in a better mental place now than where he was, when we started talking to him a few months ago. He's going to be an asset to our club.
And our wingers, Steve, Tito, a lot of carries in the backfield again, and Skelton, another excellent finish, really underrated finish that. He was under pressure there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they both bring so much. Like Taruva had that problem with Buller there. They dropped that ball. That was just communication. But Taruva's runs out of the back play great. Our back five are great like that. Like last year we struggled so much trying to get our set started. Now our back five get us upfield, really quickly, and we're kicking our 5th tackle well over the halfway line today. So, you can't ask more than that.
That was obviously a thing we targeted over the off-season, though. It's very clear that the club identified that we struggled coming out of our own end. And they went and found a couple of guys who really add that to the side.
And I'm really pleased, Gary, that they're sticking with Skelton. Like, he does have his defensive issues, and he has cost us a few tries. But if they can rectify that, if they can get him working on that edge, get that defensive side working together, what he does for us in attack, like both as a finisher, but also just getting us up the field, is brilliant.
And that try he scored today, I don't think we should just brush over it. That was a fantastic finish. I was on the other side of the field, sitting on the 50, and it was a long way away. But watching it from where I was, I didn't get that excited because I didn't think he could have got that ball down in that corner the way he did. He did a great job scoring that try in that corner, and that's a real credit to him.
Edge back rowers, Rob, we've sort of lamented at times this year that we don't have a punch there on the edge, but obviously KPP coming in next year. But the 2 brothers, Samuela and Sione, they were a handful today.
They were a handful, and if we do have KPP on that edge, then Sione stocks up our middle, so suddenly we look a bit better for what. But look, it's a good experience to have Sione on the edge and doing what he did today. It's nice having players that can play multiple roles. So if KPP goes down next year or Samuela goes down, you can throw Sione out there. But right now, every time we've tried to throw Seyfarth or Tony Sook or whatever, they do a job, but it's just like an average job.
Jareen Buller, now coach is not on today, so I'm sure if he hears this, he's going to pick up his laptop.
He's
and throw
watching.
It in the bin.
He's watching.
I know he's watching, but I just thought Buller today. There were times, and I know DCE hit the belly of the ball, so those floaters are impossible to catch. But there were a couple of times it was clear there was a miscommunication between Tito and Buller, and I still think at times in attack he could get a little bit more involved.
Yeah, I agree with your first one. 9 times out of 10, he looks like as safe as a bank. He looks confident, and you just know he's not going to drop the ball. Like he's there. But then every now and then he's got a game in him or a part of a game where he just seems to lose confidence in catching that high ball. And maybe it is. Maybe it's just that, that floating high ball that sort of drifts around a little bit that he really struggles with. But he doesn't like getting under them. He's got to address that. As far as getting involved in the attack, yeah, he can come in and out of games. I think he's doing that less and less. Like I'd say that was a problem. Last year he wasn't as involved. I think he's pretty good now.
What did you make of his game today, Buller?
He wasn't as involved as he usually is. I thought he was a little bit quieter today, but he still had involvement. He had involvement in that first try for Adam Dewey. He batted that ball back for Adam to score. So he had his moments. He does struggle under the spiral bombs, the ones that kind of move around as they come back down.
I was happy when Luke Brooks was kicking those.
As half the competition does, though.
Yeah, half the. But the ones he did put down today, they were ripper kicks. Like most fullbacks under those would be very worried about them.
So do we try to? Does he try to catch him, or does he let him bounce?
You've got to
try and catch him.
Some teams don't though. Some teams let him bounce.
But some can handle them too. I saw Clint Gutherson take a ripper. I saw a few over the weekend that were caught well. But I think we're going too hard on Dream Buller. He's literally 100%. One of our top 3 players every week.
I don't think I'm going hard on him. It's more just I just think he's that good that I think there's a little bit more there. Like there was an instance, it was only 2 or 3 minutes ago, where he just pinned his ears back and went for the line and nearly just brushed through them all. Like sometimes I think he's just a little bit finesse.
But he's human. He can't be up every single week. I think he's been our best attacking player all year long, and really nothing has happened without him being something in attack. So what was pleasing about today's wing was he wasn't the man. He wasn't the guy that was doing all the creating. He's still involved. That bomb he dropped, that was really a bit of confusion with him and Tito. I think they didn't know who was going to take that ball, and luckily we dodged that bullet there. That was the turning point of the game.
And there's no doubt that he's been our most important attacking player this year in my mind.
Don't disagree with that.
And I don't think he was as important in that today, but he provides all our shape. Our attack, any game he hasn't played this year, has looked pedestrian at best, and we just shuffle the ball left and right with no shape. That's what he provides for us, and that's why he's so important to what we're doing.
I don't mean to throw you off, Eddie, but we never found out who your match day man of the match was. I know you said you had a few.
Mine was the Lebanese warrior, Adam Dewey. Always. He's got to
Claws
start
out,
at number
baby.
7. Sign him up for another 5 years, Gary. Let's talk about Royce Hunt. I was impressed with Royce Hunt today, Steve. I know he only played 21 minutes, but I thought he made an impact in that time. I think it was 9 runs for 80-odd metres, and he put a little short ball on, which Latu dropped. It might have been Terrell May, but I thought he was good.
Yeah, and his post-contact meters were good as well today, so he was driving through the line. No, but when he's fit and when he's firing, he really adds something, and we can push out those minutes a little bit longer each game, get him a good off-season, get him a little bit fitter. But, you don't want to trim him down too much because then you're going to lose his impact. They got to get that balance right. He's always going to be an impact player. He's not going to be a guy who's going to play your Terrell May sort of minutes. But if we can get him, just a little longer stint, I think that's perfect for him.
Good coaching. Maybe it's worked, sending him back to State Cup for 4 or 6 weeks. I thought he dropped his bundle, Royce Hunt.
Yeah, I thought his performance was really strong today. I want more minutes out of him still, but I thought that I was actually really surprised when I did have a look at the stats after the game, and that in that short amount of time he'd managed 80 metres. So that usually you're getting about 15 minutes out of him and about 40 metres. So getting 80 metres out of him to get today, I thought was a big step up on what we've seen from him in the past month.
I think he proved he's a dry tracker, not a wet tracker. Those conditions against Canterbury did not suit him. He looked like he was doing donuts in the mud. So I think having him on the dry track today, getting him on the front foot, I still want more minutes from him, but what he did today was good. And to be fair, in the first half of the season, the things he did were good. It just wasn't enough for me.
On a good 3, Rob.
I think we want a fast 2.
The thing with Hunt is we're talking about his attack. We've got to look at his defence as well. And when he fatigues, he can miss a tackle. You talked about first contact. Our first contact has been poor all season. He can drop off a tackle or he can be caught out of position when he's fatigued. So we do need to get that fitness up, or if it's up, keep it up there so that he can punch out quality minutes on both sides of the football.
Captain Courageous, Appy Coruscant, I assume he played 80 minutes today. I haven't had time to look at all the stats, but ever since he bleached his hair about a month ago, I reckon he's gone on a hot streak of form, so maybe he's got to bleach the hair all the time.
He has, but it wasn't the brilliance that he did against Latrell Mitchell in South Sydney. He's just been high quality Appy without overplaying his hand. And we're finding the right balance now, I think, between Adam wanting the ball, Jerome wanting the ball, and Appy doing his thing from dummy half. He picked a couple of really good times to run from dummy half today. Got to admit, though, he looked half a yard slower than normal, which did bother me, but he'll be right.
Had that little pet play, Gary, where Latu maybe just overrun it and it was forward, but it caught Manly out.
You know what? I still don't know if that pass was forward. It looked
I'm
quite
with you.
flat to
He
me.
was
I'm
running
with you.
backwards, Appy. Which
Exactly.
doesn't-
Yeah, I don't know that it was forward. What was interesting, I thought, today is Charlie Murray came on and Appy stayed on the field, but they kind of shared the hooking role, the dummy half role for a little bit. So I thought they found a way of keeping him on the field but still getting him a rest. Like he didn't totally go away from playing that dummy half role, but Charlie Murray got in there a few times for a couple of sets as well and played that role as well. So I thought maybe that's a way of trying to get him a bit of a rest while playing him 80 minutes.
Defensively, Steve, obviously 12 points against, you'd take that every day of the week. And like I said before, first 2 minutes where there were only 2 tries, that was one of our better defensive displays of the year, despite Manly being a bit disconnected.
Yeah, it was. You can only play against a team that turns up, on the other side of the field, and that's what we did. It was a strong defensive display. There was none of that frantic scurrying where we've got to reset our defensive line. We were quite set. When we won the middle, right, we pushed them back. When we were defending, we beat them over the ad line with defence a lot of the time. So they had no momentum at all. Their left edge is dangerous. I think Turbo's busted. I really do. But their left edge is still strong. And we handled, apart from really early in the game, we handled that really well. We were up on them. And what I mentioned at the top of the pod, our line speed was fantastic. And that was led a lot of the time by Alex Toll. I was watching
Has
him.
been for the last few weeks.
Yeah.
So I think it's something that's gone a little unnoticed. In the Canterbury game, he was doing it. And the game before that, I can't even remember who it was. I noticed he was doing that as well, especially early in the game. I think he tires a little bit in his second stint and doesn't overly lead that line speed. But he's been doing that for about a month now.
His form's gone up since Fletcher and Hindy paid him a visit.
I saw that.
No
That was
doubt.
hilarious.
Yeah, that was
food
one of the
Lebanese.
funniest skits I've ever seen.
Our food went wrong here, by the way, but like Alex Wilde.
Yeah, well, we'll try and order some food from Parramatta next time instead of Randwick. We won't mention names.
Steve, you mentioned before, and I don't know if I 100% agree, Manly are out of sorts. I still think they asked you questions. Like Daly Cherry Evans chipped in his own 20 today, and they've got Kohler and they've got Hopewada and they've got Turbo. So I actually did think they moved the ball around and asked us some questions, and there was some good desperation defence.
Yeah, but they didn't have us backtracking, right? So our defensive line was set for most of the game, and because we won the middle.
They had no forwards. Their set distance was poor, wasn't it?
That's right. So that left edge, while it is dangerous, and there are some they got Hopewadi, they got what's his name? Kohler in the centres. They got Turbo when he's at his best. And Brooks is a good attacking player. So they've got a lot of attacking options, but we weren't going backwards. So our line.
They're missing their number one weapon as well in Olakau'atu. Like he's been out he made a comeback against Canterbury and then injured himself, and he's gone for the year.
They are a side that likes to play against a retreating defence, especially now that Turbo doesn't have the ability to bust through lines like he has in the past. He's still very difficult to bring down. I don't think he has that explosiveness to go through the line. So they really do. Both Cherry Evans and Luke Brooks both play best when that defensive line is retreating.
I know we spend a lot of time talking about attack, but premiership sides are built on defence, and often the best defensive side wins the premiership. So surely if West Tigers want to become a top 8 or top 4 side, this is the area of the game they've got to get right every week.
We're scrambling a lot better now than we always have before. I still think our first up contact isn't great, but a lot of teams, their first up contact isn't great. And let's be fair, all the rules that change every year are catered to attack. They're catered to scoring points, the 6 again rules. The NRL want to see points. They want to see the flying finishes near the corner post. So they're trying to create, so I think gone are the days where you can have an average of 17 or 18 points in a season. I mean, maybe Penrith can sort of still do those sort of numbers when it matters, but to actually keep that heavy standard of defence up, I think it's impossible.
Any honourable mentions, boys? Players I haven't mentioned that you'd like to mention today? Charlie Murray got a stint today, Gary, off the bench.
Yeah, I don't think he was anything flash, but I thought he did pretty well. Suka had his moments today. I thought that was one of his better performances.
What about Latu? Latu played 53 minutes, I think, which is a decent and multiple positions.
And played in multiple positions. I thought he was really good. And we mentioned earlier that Toa has lost a little bit in attack. He still had that really nice breakdown down the right-hand side before he hurt his shoulder. So I wasn't too disappointed in the way he played today. I thought he was okay as well. There really wasn't a bad player on the field.
Charlie Murray surprised me today. I saw like some of his footwork. He was actually like quite more fleet-footed than I thought he was. He was really quick to the line, and yeah, he's got some good feet about him.
Maybe that's why they're playing him instead of Jack Bird.
Perhaps so. Maybe there's room
It's an
for
argument
both.
on the
Maybe
different
there's room for
shorts you can
both.
check out in the next couple of weeks between me and Rob. Any negatives today? Because I was going to call this Rob's rant, but I don't reckon you've got a rant today. You're probably in a good mood.
I'm
I
in the
reckon.
best mood ever. I want to
I've got a
congratulate
rant, though.
my wife and my son on winning their golf match play final today. And then obviously the Tigers won everything they played today, didn't they? At all levels.
All weekend.
All weekend. Can you go through all the names of the teams, Gary? Because I don't know them all off the top of my head. So there's-
West Tigers won Jersey Flag.
Yep.
The Magpies won New South Wales Cup. We won the Harvey Norman women's game yesterday. We also won
the girls today.
The girls won the
Against Saints.
NRLW today, and the West Tigers.
What are the
won
odds
in
of
the
that
NRL.
gambling wise? That's about
For
1,000
us,
to 1, sure.
for us, yeah,
Never
mate.
happens.
Today was Powerball. That's what it was.
Exactly. All right. Well, I've got a rant today, and
Okay,
again,
you go
Coach
for it.
Adele won't be happy, but it just annoyed me. Like Appy didn't know the rules a couple of times. Okay, I'll direct this one to all of you, but there was a situation where we had a scrum 10 metres out, and Manly got penalised for breaking the scrum early. Appy just kept pointing, take the two, and we couldn't take the two. You're not allowed to take the two unless they do it, I think, a second time. Maybe that means
It's
a
a
sin
sin
bin.
bin. Yeah.
But we ended up just doing the tap instead of what we should have done is repack the scrum. And the second instance where, I don't know, I'm not going to say he didn't know the rules, but he was silly to challenge the one on our own goal line where he deliberately passed it into Tom Trbojevic, trying to get a penalty. The referees, to their credit, I think have been strong on this. If you do it deliberately, it was a penalty Manly, which I could have lived with, but then he went challenge, and he was never going to win that challenge.
Yeah, that first one off the scrum, you have to pack that scrum the second time every time, because if they do it again, if they're offside again, it's an automatic sin bin. So there's no way you don't pack the scrum in that situation. So I was really surprised about that one. And yeah, you can't pass into a player who
Ordinarily, it's a penalty.
Yeah.
In years gone by, it's just a penalty. To the
you
attacking
may
side.
get away with it if the player impedes it all. But I can't remember who he passed it into. Was it
Tom
Tom?
Trbojevic lying down.
Yeah, he didn't move at all. He just stayed in the same spot. And once he stays in the same spot, you're never going to get that penalty.
There was a couple of interesting calls by the bunker today. What did you? I thought we got a little bit lucky on Luai's try and that one in the end. But Steve, Stafford Toa, that looked like a potential season-ending injury. Benji mentioned in the press conference he wasn't sure, but he's been playing hampered over the past couple of months.
Yeah, I think the previous injury was an elbow, and this one I was sitting right behind the Tigers bench today, and yeah, he came out with his shoulder ice, so it's obviously a new injury.
You didn't offer to diagnose from your seat behind the bench?
I gave him some constructive advice.
Well, you're in the dressing rooms a lot these days, I noticed. Before the women's game.
That's what happens when you're the extra super duper platinum
Hang on,
genius member.
let's just clear that up. No, Eddie, I was not in the women's dressing room today. just to
I should
clarify
that. Before the girls were playing, Steve sent me a photo of the West Tigers dressing room.
It was the men's dressing room before. Yeah, so I was going to pinch their socks just to get their blood flowing, before the game.
Okay, well, let's talk about the Benji press conference, Rob. It was a fairly general sort of one. He praised the attitude and the effort. He singled out Jerome and also Taylor May he was asked about. But the comment which sort of I took notice of was he said, I've learnt more in the last 2 weeks than I have at any point in my coaching career around how I want the side to play and how we use our weapons.
That's positive. I didn't listen to the press conference. I heard what he said about Matt Cassini, which was encouraging. But it's interesting because you're meant to learn more from your losses.
Yeah.
And we've won games. So the fact that he's learning from winning is rather interesting. It's normally the other way around. But maybe that's his way of saying, I found the formula that works for me. And that could be what he meant.
That's what I think it is. If you listen to his press conference all year, you hear we don't know what type of side we want to be. And that's what I think he's referring to is we now have a bit of an attacking personality, and I will say that at times it's a little bit of an erratic attacking personality. But I think that's the style of play. We've got to the last month of the season, and we've finally found that style of football that's working for us. And that's what I think he means by he's learnt more over the past couple of weeks.
I'd love to ask Coach about this, but do you think there's any specifics around that? Like, obviously, getting the ball to Taylor May and that left side's looked dynamite particularly today.
Yeah, I think trying to move teams around is a big part of it. I've noticed that there were times where we were just playing that 5 up straight off the ruck kick.
Out of yardage, it's been really effective lately, shifting the ball.
Yeah, and what I've noticed lately is they're shifting it too wide, and then a lot of their attack is coming too wide, which I think is really, really good. Can I just say, I reckon there's more to that comment from Benji Marshall as well. Like he said, we've got to learn from our wins as well. Like I think historically, not that we get many, but we tend to rest on our laurels a little bit when we have a victory. And I think what he's trying to say, the message he's trying to get to his football team is every single time we go out in that football field, we've got to learn something and prepare for the next game and have that mindset of winning, moving on, winning, moving on.
I keep saying, what's the next step? And that was one step today, backing up a win with another good win. But I know in the past we've sort of thought it takes teams to be off their game for us to win. And you could argue Manly were off their game today, but I think that's probably the next step is if a team can actually play really well and we can beat them, that'd be the next phase.
It's not often we concede the first try and win a game, so that was actually a real positive
especially
as well.
in the opening minute.
Yeah, well, I think we conceded one magic round to St George, and that might have been the last time, that we've actually conceded first and come back to win a game. I think the key for me, Eddie, and it's not. We don't want to keep putting all our chips in onto one number every week in terms of like we have to do this next week, we have to do this next week. But next week really is a big litmus test because we're trying to go for 3 in a row, which we haven't done for 6 or 7 years. And further to that, we're going to be favourites, and we're going to be at a packed Leichhardt Oval, and we're going to be expected to win. So as long as I want to see how the team handles that pressure of being a favourite, heavy favourite, I'm going to say, I reckon we'll be $1.60, $1.70 to win the game.
We were $1.74 before the game, but that probably tightened, although Cowboys had a good win.
Look, they don't travel too well, the Cowboys, and we're up at the moment, and we've got a bit of momentum. So I think we're going to want to put on a big display.
I've just got an idea. They'll be celebrating the 20-year anniversary of the grand final. Maybe they can get Toddy Payton on the drink the night before with all the old Scotty Prince and that, and the Cowboys will be completely unprepared.
Well, I'm hoping that the Cowboys name Jonathan Thurston in the team this week because he's never won at Leichhardt Oval, so that'd be a big confidence booster.
One of the great anomalies. What was the fan on the hill? Thurston. I won't do it here, but that was a great clip on YouTube. Anything else from the game, boys, before we talk about the week ahead? Anything I haven't mentioned tonight?
Yeah,
game.
I reckon one thing this team is really reacting to, it's having the coach on the sideline.
I criticised that earlier in the year, but
I'm with you though. I don't like the coach on the sideline.
It's actually,
mate, no, they like I said, I was sitting right in behind Benji, and I was just watching all game how well the team are connecting with him and he's connecting with them and send the messages out and like he'd bring Latu Fainu over and he'd message something and he'd go back into the huddle and whatever it is, whatever he's saying, they are responding to it and they love it, and I reckon it's working.
But unless Benji's trusting eyes up in the stand, like for example a John Morris,
he obviously is,
which he obviously is, then you can accept it. But yeah, look, it's working for him. But again, the main guy has to be up in the stands watching. So if he's given that trust to John Morris, then so be it. I'm all for it.
I think he was probably bursting to do it, Gary, and it suits his personality. Like he's uptight in the coach's box and he's got to pretend to be all professional. Look at Ricky Stewart. His team's coming first and he's down on the sideline, whether it's rain, hail or shine.
Yeah, the big one for me is the messaging. His ability, and I pointed out a couple of weeks, you've just pointed out then, Steve, that's not the first time he's done it. He'll call a player over the sideline and he'll give instruction from the sideline, and that's made a difference, I think, especially when you've got a lot of young guys playing in your halves. Like you got Buller playing at fullback, who's a young guy. Latu Fainu is a developing player, and he's able to get that immediate feedback from his coach, and I think that's making a difference for a guy like Latu.
What's the biggest improvement we've got to make heading into this game against Cowboys next week?
Wow, that's a good question. I just think cut out the simple errors. Like we defended them well today, but I don't often see drop bombs
Still
that are
made
so
an error
simple that
off,
aren't contested.
after a try. We made an error.
That's what I mean. Those sort of things. Look, but we're just still learning, mate. We're still learning. We've just got to be a little bit more professional. But they're humans. They're still a young team. They're still learning what each other do. But I'm starting to see some positives now. Like even just little things. I know they don't seem like much, but the finishes the wingers did today for their tries, they were elite. Like I thought Skelton was going to dislocate a shoulder the way he had three blokes going over the top of him in the corner for his try, and Tito beat
Mate,
3 players.
He's an amazing finisher. Like
he's
Tito?
my favourite player. I love Tito.
Mate, I do too. His ability to go through contact.
I want to watch his
second to
celebration
none.
again. I'm not sure what he was doing. Like
No, he did.
It
he-
was like,
The claw.
No.
you guys are too young, but it was like Phantom Agent stuff to me. He was doing this and that and this, and I don't know what he was
He
doing.
also did when
he didn't do
score,
he didn't do the you know what, which was good.
No.
He didn't do the chord.
He
I would
actually
have loved
did.
to see that again.
He did the Indigenous kangaroo celebration when he scored that try as well.
Okay, that's
So-
what it was.
My favourite part of what he did today is Cherry Evans was thinking of challenging something, and he was yelling out,
Yeah,
challenge,
do
challenge,
it.
challenge. And I thought, that's,
I
you
dare you.
need a niggler in the team. The week ahead, what are you most looking forward to ahead of this Leichhardt game? I know we all love Leichhardt games. We're all going to be there, I assume. What are you most looking forward to this week?
The challenge of winning the middle next week in the game, because you just said what's our next step, right? For us to win next week, we've got to win against a big mobile forward pack, and that's what I'm really looking for, because we're pumped up at the moment. We believe in ourselves. Our forwards are on top today. We're on top against Canterbury, so I want to see them beat that to Leichhardt if it's a nice sunny day, right? Dry track, and they dominate a bigger, more mobile forward pack.
And it's consistent football, Steve. That's what I really want to see is we show up and we play a similar style. I mean, you might have variations because you're playing against a different team, but I want to see that style of play develop and become consistent and that level become consistent because we're starting to set standards as a club. That's the next part of those standards is doing it consistently and doing it every week.
Well, I reckon if we win 3 in a row, Rob, we'll get the paint on nails match day, Manny. I think Gary or all of us should do it. Maybe
Why don't
5
we
in a
do
row?
that? We'll all get the match day Manny. We'll advertise them next week.
And how good is this Claws Out podcast logo, by the way? Can West Tigers take note of this? Ever since we got rid of the claws, the old logo, which you hate,
Yes, I do.
which is a far superior logo to this pathetic one they've got at the moment, this is an outstanding logo, Rob. Is this your work or your son's work?
This
Whose
is
it?
my son Rob Jr. and his lovely wife Marissa. They spent a few days on it, and I think it looks amazing.
That looks fierce,
Yeah.
unlike the current logo, which looks not fierce.
Honestly, that looked like the logo that should have been there in front of the Canterbury game, like the way we played
With the
against
cod.
Canterbury. Yeah, with the everything. We could have done
Come
the
on.
whole lot. But look, back to next week. I'm looking forward to walking down Mary Street and hearing the murmurs of confidence, like everyone's saying, I think we're going to win today, and seeing the flags come out and just, that anticipation of when the boys run out and, the crowd being into it and believing in a team.
Yeah.
Having a team to believe in and thinking whether we win or not, it's a different story, but just having that belief is so important as a fan base.
I'm
With
heading
3
to
weeks.
Leichhardt as soon as we finish, and I'm camping for the week.
Three
Get your
weeks
nails
to go.
done first.
3 weeks to go, and we can still go to Leichhardt Oval thinking this team's going to put in today. How
See,
good's that?
I used to have a routine, Rob. After every Sunday win, I used to just go out and get blind, and now I've got to come in and do this podcast every week. It's ruined my routine. But
We can do that
I'll
later
accept
tonight.
it every
We'll
week.
go
but
park our cars somewhere and do it tonight.
Thank you to our sponsors, Matchday Manny. Please, listeners out there and viewers, give us a follow on Instagram and on X. It's Claws Out Podcast, one word, and the YouTube channel is also called Claws Out Podcast. There'll be some content coming out, some shorts over the next couple of weeks. We had a debate about Luai, Galvin. We did some buy, sell, and holds, and we did one other. We reminisced about the 2005 preliminary final, Rob.
That was really enjoyable. And look, I've had a few questions about our dear friend Adel Haj, and he has sent me a message. So do you mind if I
Go for it, mate.
read that out, guys? So it goes, "Hi, mate. Just want to thank you and Josh for giving me the opportunity to be a part of West Tigers Life team. I've had a lot of great one-on-one discussions with you this year, and I'm glad I've been able to give a different perspective to the regular West Tigers fan. I have made the decision to concentrate on the next journey of my footy experience and want to focus totally on coaching and put everything into that. The love and appreciation I've received from the West Tigers Life viewers and listeners has been overwhelming, and I'm extremely humbled by it." Well, he sent this to me a couple of days ago, so I will be at Allianz Stadium this Sunday, so if anyone sees me, feel free to come and say hello, especially the Discord people, and I think a few of those Discord people did. I wish West Tigers Life continued success and good luck with the new Claws Out podcast. I'll be listening in whenever I can. Once again, thank you, everyone. Chat soon.
He was absolutely outstanding, Rob. Like I watched every Sunday night coach's report that you did, and he just brought such a point of difference. And I know his dream is to be a coach in the WNRL or NRL or whatever, and I'm so happy that he's pushing ahead with that. But we'll certainly miss him, won't we?
We're going to miss him, but I think we can take pride with all our podcasts because you guys had him on West Tigers podcast a couple of times as well. We've given him a platform to show who he is, what he's about, the passion and love he has for the West Tigers is unmatched. Like I've sat with him in games and, we just bounce off each other and we speak to each other every day or every second day or text each other. And And I did not know how smart he was at his rugby league. Like, I knew he did some coaching, and we'd have some regular chats. But when we'd break down a game, and even the other night, and I'll give you an example of this, and it's only minor, guys, but Melbourne played Penrith, as you know, first game of the weekend where it was a draw. And Xavier Coates was flying over the top of a couple of people, and he sends me a message on the one where Coates didn't get the run up to challenge. And he goes, Luai would have got penalised for that. I said, what? He goes, Luai would have got penalised for that. I said, what are you talking about? So I rewound it, and sure enough, Nathan Cleary's just jogged across 3 or 4 metres, but because it's Nathan Cleary,
he watches every second through coach's lens.
He does. He watches like we watch it as a fan, follow the ball, see where it's going. He's looking behind the scenes. He's watching how everyone react and what he would do, and as if he was a coach and what chess moves he would make. He's just got a brilliant rugby league mind, and you know, like I said, I hope this platform is going to help him with his coaching career. And the best thing I can say about Adel Haj, I love him to bits. I hope we never see him on our podcast again, because that'll mean his coaching career is taking off. So, Adel, if you're watching, thanks so much, mate. We love you. And, you know, if ever you're allowed to come in and say good day or do something on a general chat, we will. But I think for now, he's just better concentrating on his coaching.
And Rob, I'm about to go and have a beer, but there's more to come. You've got a live fan phone in starting in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, so we got Josh and Aaron, and I'm not sure if anyone else is joining me or not. I don't know if Gary wants to join in because he hasn't got his nails done by match day Manny yet. So we'll see if we can get a bit of makeup for him or what have you. But yeah, we're going to have a live phone in. So any of the fans out there that are happy with the win and ecstatic, we want to hear that euphoria. We've had so many freaking years of misery. Like, if you're pumped,
should have started this podcast 5 years ago with three and three.
We should have. Like, look at this. We got the win straight away. Like, first up with Claws Out. But yeah, just slide into Josh's DMs if you haven't already. And yeah, we'll get you on the show. Your face will be on the screen. And you don't have to talk about the game today. You can just talk about anything West Tigers related or anything we've discussed tonight. I will close with one thing, which is really good. I've got a connection with the May family, and I have been told that Taylor May's deal is 100% done with the West Tigers.
Oh.
Okay, so that is really good news.
Mic drop to finish.
And announce that tomorrow.
No.
Yes,
I thought I'd
please.
leave it till the end of the show. So if you're being good enough and kind enough to watch till the end of the show, please hit the likes on the YouTube and please subscribe to our Claws Out podcast channel. I think before the show we had 2 subscribers. So
And I think one of them was me.
and one of them might have been you, and I might have been the other one. So, but yeah, for now, you'll always find us on West Tigers Live for the rest of the year and next year as well. But we just want to have 2 outlets so that we're making sure that all the content we're producing is out there for people to watch and listen to.
All right. Big thank you to Matchday Manny, to Adele, to our viewers and listeners. Please give us a follow on all the socials. And what a great day it was. West Tigers 26 beating Manly 12. Thank you, boys.
Go the Tigers.
Claws out.
Thanks, boys.